Failure, a word that has broken empires, shattered dreams, and silenced voices that once carried the thunder of ambition. But failure is not the end. It is the beginning. Think of it. Every man and woman who carved their name into the fabric of history first stumbled, bled, and fell to the ground where ordinary people would have chosen to stay. Thomas Edison did not stumble once or twice. He stumbled 10,000 times, until the world mistook his failures for madness. But Edison understood what most never will, that every failure was not a tombstone, but a signpost, a teacher in disguise, a whispered lesson from the universe itself, telling him, "Not this way, try again." And he did, until the light itself obeyed his persistence. That is the secret most never unlock. Failure is not your enemy. Failure is the raw fuel from which greatness is forged. The tragedy of most lives is not that people aim too high and fall short. It is that they aim too low and accept mediocrity without ever testing the edges of their spirit. Failure terrifies them. The very thought of being laughed at, rejected, doubted, or ridiculed shackles their ambition before it ever has a chance to breathe. But understand this. The giants of history, the Lincolns, the Carnegies, the Disneys, the Fords, they walked through firestorms of failure. They were ridiculed, abandoned, bankrupted, betrayed, and still they rose, because they knew a truth that you must carve into your heart. Failure does not kill you. Surrender does. Blank. Underscore, blank. If you strip success down to its bones, you will find failure in its foundation. Henry Ford did not create the automobile empire on his first try. He built companies that collapsed under the weight of doubt and debt. He was mocked by competitors who said, "The horse is here to stay. The automobile is just a fad." Yet Ford refused to surrender. He understood that failure is not the universe closing its door on you. It is the universe testing how badly you want to enter. Ask yourself, how badly do you want it? Do you want it enough to be rejected 10 times? 100 times? 1,000 times? Do you want it enough to rise after every strike of defeat, even when your knees buckle and your spirit screams? Because that is the price. That is the toll the universe demands before it hands over greatness. Blank. Underscore, blank. Failure is a sculptor. It chisels away arrogance, laziness, and weakness until only the steel of your true character remains. Without failure, you remain untested, soft, fragile, like clay untouched by fire. It is only through the furnace of defeat that your spirit is tempered into something unbreakable. Abraham Lincoln lost more elections than he won before becoming the president who held a fractured nation together. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination. He went bankrupt. He slept on park benches. But he believed in a vision so powerful it outlasted every rejection. He once said, "I only hope that we never lose sight of one thing, that it all started with a mouse." Failure pushed him, stripped him, refined him, and because he allowed it to, the world now carries his dreams in its childhood memories, its stories, its very imagination. So why do you run from failure? Why do you shrink from the very thing that can make you great? Because you were taught wrong. You were told to fear it, to avoid it, to play it safe. But safety is the slow death of the human spirit. Safety is the silent assassin of dreams. Blank. Underscore, blank. When failure comes, and it will, you have two choices. You can see it as a wall, or you can see it as a doorway. The weak see the wall and turn back. The strong see the doorway, and they crash through it, knowing the bruises will heal but the lesson will remain. Think of a blacksmith hammering a blade. Each strike looks like destruction, but in reality, each strike is shaping, strengthening, and perfecting. That is what failure does to you, if you let it. But you must not only endure it, you must learn to use it, to convert it into energy, into drive, into relentless fuel. Blank. Underscore, blank. Here is a truth most people never face. Failure will visit you again and again. No matter how high you climb, success is not a permanent state. It is a temporary peak. Every summit reveals another mountain. Every victory reveals another challenge. And with each new level comes new failures, fresh setbacks, sharper storms. The question is not, will I fail? The question is, will I rise again? Stronger, clearer, hungrier? The most dangerous person in the world is not the one who never fails. That person does not exist. The most dangerous person is the one who has failed 1,000 times and refuses to die. That person has become untouchable, unshakable, unstoppable, blank, underscore, blank. Think of the phoenix, the mythical bird that bursts into flames, consumed by its own destruction. To the untrained eye, it looks like death, but to those who understand, it is transformation. The phoenix rises from its ashes, reborn, renewed, more radiant than before. That is what failure is, your ashes, your chance to rise again, not as who you were, but as who you are becoming. But the choice is always yours. Will you stay in the ashes, mourning what was lost, or will you rise, using the fire that burned you as the very energy that propels you forward? Blank, underscore, blank. Your mind is the battlefield. That is where the war against failure is won or lost. If you see failure as proof of your limits, you will stay small, caged, forgotten. But if you see failure as proof of your attempt, proof that you had the courage to try, then you have already stepped into the rare territory where success becomes inevitable. Because success is not about avoiding failure, it is about harvesting it. It is about extracting every lesson, every ounce of wisdom, every spark of clarity, and turning it into relentless fuel. Blank, underscore, blank. And so I say to you, stop fearing failure. Start demanding it, seek it, chase it, embrace it. Because the more you fail, the more alive you are. The more you fail, the closer you stand to the fire of greatness. Failure is not a curse. It is the compass pointing you toward your true north. It is the universe whispering, there is more in you yet. Keep going. And when you truly understand this, when you no longer tremble at the thought of rejection, when you no longer run from the storms but walk into them with open arms, then, and only then, will you unlock the unstoppable force inside you. Failure will not destroy you. It will ignite you. It will become the relentless fuel that carries you beyond the reach of ordinary men, into the realm of the extraordinary. Failure, when faced head-on, reveals something extraordinary. It is not just the end of one attempt, but the birth of clarity. Every mistake sharpens the edge of understanding. Every misstep points out a weakness you must fortify. Clarity is born in the ashes of defeat. Think of the soldier who has walked through battle and knows the weight of war. He sees what the untested cannot. He moves with wisdom, with precision, with calm under fire. In the same way, failure arms you with a perspective that success never could. Success whispers comfort. Failure shouts the truth. Success tells you, you are enough. Failure screams, you must grow. And isn't growth the true purpose of life? To expand beyond yesterday's limits. To rise above the person you were. To reach further. Stretch wider. Dream bolder. That is why failure must never be avoided. It is the very forge that transforms you into someone worthy of the life you seek. Blank, underscore, blank. Consider this. Clarity without failure is blindness wrapped in arrogance. The man who has never stumbled thinks his path is perfect. He believes his vision is flawless. But when the storm comes, and it always comes, he is swept away because his foundation was never tested. But the man who has fallen, who has tasted defeat, who has wrestled with darkness, he walks with unshakable clarity. He knows what works and what does not. He knows where the cracks in his armor lie, and he strengthens them. He knows where the path is treacherous, and he prepares for it. Failure has become his teacher, his guide, his compass. This is the clarity that gives birth to vision, not the shallow daydreams of idle minds, but vision forged in reality. Vision that survives contact with hardship. Vision that grows roots deep enough to weather every storm. Blank, underscore, blank. Vision. It is the light that keeps you moving through the night of failure. It is the image in your mind that burns brighter than doubt, brighter than ridicule, brighter than the exhaustion that tries to chain your spirit. When Walt Disney stood bankrupt, ridiculed, dismissed as a fool, what kept him alive was not money in his pocket, but vision in his heart. He saw castles when others saw debt. He saw laughter when others saw ruin. He saw generations of joy when others saw one more man crushed by the world. That is what vision does. It turns failure into fuel. Because when you know where you are going, no setback can keep you from moving forward. Without vision, failure feels final. With vision, failure feels temporary. Without vision, rejection feels like proof you are not enough. With vision, rejection feels like proof you are on the right path. Because you are walking the same road every great soul has walked before you. Vision is the seed, failure is the rain, and discipline is the soil. Together they grow greatness. Blank. Underscore. Blank. But vision without discipline is nothing but fantasy. How many dreamers fill the world? How many men and women speak of greatness? Imagine fortune. Fantasize about legacy. But never endure the daily grind that turns vision into reality? Discipline is the bridge between failure and triumph. It is the decision to rise when comfort tells you to sleep. It is the choice to keep hammering when the iron looks too hard. It is the steady rhythm of effort, unbroken by the storms of doubt. Andrew Carnegie built steel empires not because he dreamed bigger than anyone else, but because he worked harder, longer, with relentless discipline when others gave up. Edison's genius was not in his ideas alone. It was in the ruthless discipline of thousands of failed experiments, each one bringing him closer to the prize. Discipline converts the fuel of failure into forward motion. Without it, failure consumes you. With it, failure propels you. Blank. Underscore. Blank. But discipline must be paired with belief. Belief is the spark that lights the furnace. Without belief, discipline becomes drudgery, a meaningless march to nowhere. With belief, discipline becomes devotion, a sacred ritual of becoming. Henry Ford believed so deeply in his vision of affordable automobiles that he withstood mockery, lawsuits, sabotage, and ridicule. His belief did not make him immune to failure, but it made him unstoppable despite it. Belief does not mean ignoring your failures. It means trusting that they are shaping you, teaching you, preparing you. Belief is the anchor that keeps your soul from drifting into despair when the winds of defeat howl against you. Blank. Underscore. Blank. And yet, belief and discipline are not enough without action. Too many sit paralyzed, waiting for the perfect plan, the perfect time, the perfect circumstances. But perfection is the enemy of progress. Action is the antidote to fear. Action is the proof of belief. Action is the hammer that breaks down the walls of failure and turns them into stepping stones. Every great story of success is a story of relentless action. Edison experimented. Ford built. Carnegie negotiated. Disney created. Lincoln campaigned. They did not wait. They moved. And in their movement, they stumbled, fell, bled, and failed. But because they acted, they learned. Because they acted, they grew. Because they acted, they triumphed. Do not wait for the fire to go out before you move. Do not wait for failure to disappear before you try again. Move through it. Move with it. Move against it. For failure is not the weight on your back. It is the wind in your sails. If only you keep moving forward. Blank. Underscore. Blank. And here lies another secret. Gratitude. Gratitude transforms the sting of failure into the sweetness of wisdom. Without gratitude, failure feels like punishment. With gratitude, failure feels like preparation. Be grateful for the deal that fell apart. It taught you resilience. Be grateful for the betrayal. It sharpened your intuition. Be grateful for the rejection. It freed you to find the door meant for you. Be grateful for the pain. It carved out space in you for strength. Every failure is a gift, wrapped in the disguise of disappointment. Gratitude is what unwraps it, revealing the lesson, the blessing, the hidden path forward. Carnegie once said that the greatest thing a man can do is see opportunity in every adversity. That is gratitude in action. Blank. Underscore. Blank. But perhaps the most powerful transformation failure brings is resilience. Resilience is not mere endurance, it is rebirth. It is the ability to bend without breaking, to stumble without shattering, to suffer without surrendering. Resilience is the phoenix in human form. It is the soul's ability to rise from ashes with wings stronger than before. Failure is not here to bury you. It is here to build you. Resilience is how you prove that truth. Resilience alone is not enough. Because life does not only test your strength, it tests your flexibility. The world shifts beneath your feet. The rules you thought were permanent change overnight. Industries collapse. Markets shift. Empires crumble. Uncertainty evaporates like smoke. The rigid mind shatters under pressure. But the adaptable mind bends, learns, and survives. Darwin did not say that the strongest survive, nor the most intelligent, but those most adaptable to change. The same law governs your dreams. You can be strong, disciplined, relentless, and still fail if you refuse to adapt. Failure is often the world telling you, not this way, but if you are too proud, too stubborn, too blind to adjust, you will keep crashing into the same wall. Adaptability is the wisdom to ask, what is this failure trying to teach me? What new path must I take? What must I change in myself? Think of the river. It does not fight the mountain head on. It bends, curves, flows, and in doing so, it carves valleys and canyons more powerful than dynamite. Adaptability is your river, bending without breaking, shifting without losing direction, flowing until the obstacle becomes part of your path. Blank. Underscore. Blank. But adaptability is not passive. It is not surrender. It is strategic evolution. Henry Ford did not cling to old methods when they failed. He reinvented manufacturing with the assembly line, adapting not just to failure, but to the future. Disney adapted when his first characters were stolen from him. He created a mouse so iconic that it outlived every attempt to erase him. Lincoln adapted to loss after loss, learning how to speak, how to connect, how to rally a divided people until failure itself became his tutor in leadership. Adaptability is not weakness, it is mastery, the ability to turn failure into instruction, setbacks into stepping stones, detours into destiny. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Resilience keeps you standing. Adaptability keeps you moving. But there is one more ingredient that transforms failure into relentless fuel: learning. The man who fails but does not learn wastes his suffering. He repeats the same mistakes, circles the same mountains, fights the same unwinnable battles. He is not failing forward. He is failing in place. But the one who studies his failure, who asks the hard questions, who dissects the defeat until it yields its lessons, that person is unstoppable. For every loss becomes knowledge, and knowledge is the sharpest sword a human being can wield. Edison once said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That is the voice of learning. The experiments that did not succeed were not wasted. They were logged, studied, and transformed into guidance. Think of every failure as tuition paid to the University of Life. You can resent the cost, or you can claim the education. Those who learn are never truly defeated. Those who refuse to learn remain chained in the same prison of mistakes, wondering why nothing changes. Blank. Underscore. Blank. And learning, when pursued with humility, becomes wisdom. Wisdom is not the absence of failure, it is the deep, unshakable understanding of how to use it. Wisdom is what allows you to see patterns, to anticipate storms, to recognize opportunities disguised as obstacles. Wisdom is the fruit of failure, harvested only by those willing to dig through the soil of disappointment. Andrew Carnegie once declared that he owed his success not to what he knew, but to what he learned from every setback. He surrounded himself with minds brighter than his own, studied every defeat, and turned each scar into strategy. That is why he built empires while others abandoned their dreams at the first sign of difficulty. blank, underscore, blank. But let me remind you, failure never disappears. No matter how wise, how resilient, how adaptable you become, the storms will still come. The world will still test you. Again and again, with sharper winds, higher stakes, deeper cuts. Why? Because life does not want to know how strong you were yesterday. It wants to know how strong you are today. Resilience, adaptability, learning. These are not one-time victories. They are habits. They are disciplines of the soul. You must practice them daily. Just as the warrior sharpens his sword not once, but before every battle, you must wake each morning prepared to fail, and fail forward, to be cut down, and rise again, to stumble, and still move, to learn, and adapt, and charge once more into the storm. Blank, underscore, blank. And here lies the final transformation. Failure becomes rhythm. At first, it feels like chaos, like random blows against your ambition. But the more you endure, the more you adapt, the more you learn, you begin to hear it differently. Failure becomes the drumbeat of your journey. Strike, rise, strike, rise, strike, rise, until the rhythm itself becomes momentum. Until the setbacks no longer shock you. Until you expect them, welcome them, even hunger for them. Because each strike is another note in the symphony of your becoming. Each defeat is another beat in the music of greatness. The greatest among us are not those who never fell. They are those who learn to dance with failure, to move with it, to use its rhythm as propulsion. Blank, underscore, blank. But you must guard your mind, for even the strongest can be poisoned by doubt. The whispers of failure will tempt you to believe that your suffering is meaningless, that your struggles are wasted, that your scars are proof of your unworthiness. Do not believe the lie. Your scars are proof of your survival, proof of your persistence, proof that you have walked where others turned back. The oak tree grows strong not in gentle sunlight, but in storms that twist its branches and winds that threaten to uproot it. The storm is what makes it unshakable. So too with you. Your scars are your story. Your failures are your foundation. Your suffering is the soil from which your strength grows. Blank, underscore, blank. Never forget. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of success. The steps you take are not all forward. Some are sideways, some backward, some into pits that feel like graves. But as long as you keep moving, as long as you keep rising, as long as you keep learning, every step, forward or back, becomes part of the climb. You are not defined by the fall. You are defined by the rise. Not by the ashes, but by the fire that lifts you from them. So rise, rise again, and again, and again, until failure itself grows weary of trying to hold you down. Rise until defeat becomes your trademark, not because it stopped you, but because it forged you. Rise until your life is living proof of this eternal truth. Failure is not the end. Failure is the relentless fuel that carries you to destiny. There comes a moment in every life when failure asks its final question. Will you rise? Or will you surrender? That moment will not come with fanfare. It will not come with warning. It will arrive in silence, in shadows, when your strength is drained and your hope is thin. It will whisper, "Is it worth it? Should you quit? Should you walk away?" And in that moment, the world will not be watching. No crowd will cheer. No lights will shine. It will be you, alone, facing yourself. That is where greatness is born, not in the applause of victory, but in the silence of struggle. When you choose to rise with no guarantee, no safety net, no certainty except your belief that the fire inside you cannot die. Blank, underscore, blank. The world remembers Lincoln not because he won every battle, but because he refused to stay down after countless defeats. It remembers Edison not because his first light bulb worked, but because he kept building after thousands failed. It remembers Ford not because he was never mocked, but because he turned ridicule into revolution. Greatness is never handed to you. It is wrestled from the jaws of defeat, claimed by those who refuse to bow. So let failure do its worst. Let it strip you. Let it scar you. Let it batter you against the walls of despair. And then stand, bleeding, weary, but unbroken. Stand, and you will discover something divine. Failure cannot destroy you. It can only reveal you. Blank. Underscore, blank. You are not your failures. You are not the rejections, the bankruptcies, the betrayals, the heartbreaks. You are the one who endured them. You are the survivor of storms, the walker through fire, the relentless spirit that no failure could bury. And that is your true power, the power to transform pain into progress, wounds into wisdom, scars into strength. That is the alchemy of the human soul. The ability to take the very forces meant to break you and use them as fuel to rise higher than anyone imagined. Blank. Underscore, blank. Understand this. Comfort will never change you. Ease will never awaken you. Success without struggle will never satisfy you. It is the fire of failure that burns away illusions. The weight of defeat that builds muscle in the soul. The darkness of despair that teaches you to generate your own light. So if you are in the fire now, if you are facing failure so heavy it feels like the end, hear me. This is not your death. This is your rebirth. This is the storm preparing you for oceans you were born to cross. This is the hammer shaping you into a weapon destiny can wield. This is the weight pressing you down so that when you rise with the strength of 10,000 suns. Blank. Underscore, blank. Think of the eagle. It does not flee the storm. It does not hide from the winds. It locks its wings and rises above the clouds, using the very storm meant to destroy it as the lift that carries it higher. That is what you must do. When failure comes, do not run. Spread your wings. Let the storm be your fuel. Think of the seed buried in darkness. To the unknowing, it looks like death, like entombment, but in truth, the burial is the beginning. The soil presses against it. The darkness surrounds it, and in that crushing weight, it grows roots, it breaks, it splits, it transforms, and then, one day, it rises into the light, stronger because of the darkness that once seemed endless. That is failure. It is not your grave. It is your ground. Blank. Underscore, blank. There is no shame in falling. The only shame is refusing to rise. The world does not belong to the flawless. It belongs to the relentless. History will not remember you for the times you avoided failure. It will remember you for the times you overcame it, for the courage to face it, for the audacity to transform it into triumph. So let the failures come. Let them strike. Let them wound. But never let them win. Because every time you rise, every time you learn, every time you adapt, you prove a truth deeper than any philosophy. You are unbreakable. Blank. Underscore, blank. One day, you will look back on the failures that once crushed you, and you will thank them. You will see that they were not detours, not delays, not dead ends. They were the very path itself. They were the silent allies, the brutal teachers, the hidden blessings that forged your destiny. Without them, you would not be who you are. Without them, you would not be ready for what is coming. Without them, you would not carry the strength, the wisdom, the resilience you now possess. Failure gave you the gift of yourself, the real you, the unshakable you, the relentless you. Blank. Underscore, blank. And so I say to you now, do not run from failure. Invite it. Do not curse it. Bless it. Do not let it bury you. Let it build you. For failure is not your enemy. It is your furnace. It is not your prison. It is your passage. It is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of your becoming. You are not here to live a small life, safe and unnoticed. You are here to burn with such intensity that the world cannot ignore you. You are here to rise, again and again, until even failure itself bows to your persistence. Blank. Underscore, blank. And when the world asks how you did it, when they wonder how you endured what would have broken anyone else, when they stare in disbelief at the strength of your spirit, you will be able to say, I did not avoid failure. I embraced it. I turned it into my fuel. And I rose. blank, underscore, blank. So rise now. Rise from the ashes. Rise from the rejection. Rise from the defeat. Rise from the betrayal. Rise from the ruin. Rise until failure itself becomes the proof of your greatness. Because this is the eternal truth. Failure is not the end. Failure is the relentless fuel that ignites your destiny.